IPL 2022 finally have the top four. I think it is fair representation of the table with where the top four has ended, which is Gujarat Titans, Rajasthan Royals, Lucknow Super Giants, and guess what? Mumbai won today, but RCB had made it to top four. So Vishak, huge congratulations to you and to the entire RCB community. Like I said, I think it's a fair representation. Delhi did not play up to the mark today. They lost to Mumbai. Mumbai will take the 2 points, but guess what? Entire Bangalore is celebrating. Even Wankhede was. So we have Adi back on our show, and Vishak. Let's start with you. Your reactions?
Really happy, but I literally speaking from the start of the match, I had no hopes because Mumbai being the bottom team and the way they were playing, they have lost matches which they should have won this year. So it was like I had literally no hopes, even that after the 3 wickets in the power play. I was thinking somewhere they'll goof up, and where it could have been a 140 to 150 kind of total, they gave away around 160. Actually, this was a kind of a tricky pitch. It was not that usual Wankhede pitch where you can go and actually chase easily. It was kind of a tricky pitch, so 160 was kind of a tricky total to chase. I think glad that the Tim David innings, I think, was the difference, and the Pant not taking the review. That was the biggest blunder, and that proved good for us. And thank you, Mumbai Indians, for taking us into the playoffs.
That's excellent. Yes, I know you're a Mumbai Indian fan also. So overall, a good day. But Adi, let's bank upon that. Rishabh Pant not taking the review. Post-match conference, he explained that he was the only one convinced and nobody else was. In hindsight, I think that's a tough spot to be in as a captain if nobody's supporting your call, isn't it?
No, but he's the captain, right? If it was another person who's the captain, then I would buy his story. I think he messed up. He has to own up for it because if it was the bowler who was convinced and the captain is somewhere sitting in the 30-yard circle, then you have bowler convinced, keeper not convinced, or even if both of them are convinced, the captain takes the call. So if Pant himself was convinced, then he should have taken that risk, right? Okay, you lose a review, but if you had gotten Tim David at that point in time, the match would have been very different. And Tim David ended up with what, 34 of 11. So that was the match-changing innings, right? Because I think Mumbai needed 60 in the last 5 overs. So it is tough. It is not going to be easy. Okay, Dew has come in. That's fine. But Mumbai did not have like a set top order batsman. Like Tilak was there, but he wasn't playing from the start, right? Like if you had Rohit or Ishan who was set, then it's a lot easier. They know how the pitch is playing and all that. But yeah, like mess up on Rishabh Pant, like the catch drop as well, right? That also hurt DC for like what 6 runs, 7 runs at least because he hit a six after that, and then a lot of misfield. So they've got themselves to blame. And I'll say this: RCB defeated the topmost team in the table, number one, and DC lost to the bottommost team in the table. So like you can't say oh they, like if you look back, DC had it the easiest because RCB was playing the best team in the tournament and DC is playing the worst team in the tournament. And still, DC wasn't able to defeat them, and RCB did like a good job with the chase. So, yeah, with these two result matches, like it's fairly well and done, and like full credit to RCB for closing it up.
One more point about that review, Suman. The wicket keeper is the one who has to take the decisions, and he plays a very important role in the like DRS kind of thing. So actually, when it is LBWs or edges, the wicket keeper is the one who has to play the main role. And Pant being the captain as well as the wicket keeper, he should be the one he has to take the decision. If he feels there is an edge, he has to go for it because the wicket keeper takes an important decision. Over wicket keeper is very important when it comes to DRS. So I think rather than asking other people if he was confident enough, he should have just asked the bowler and he should have gone for it. If he feels it is an edge, he should have gone for it. And I think he felt there was an edge, so he should have just gone for it. And who knows if David would have been out, it was just his first. It would have been a first bowler for him, and Mumbai would have lost.
Absolutely. And it was a bit of an anticlimax. Overall, Rishabh Pant had a terrible day, right? One, Delhi batted first, luckily exactly what they wanted in a crunch game. They batted first and they just never got going. Only Prithvi Shaw looked like he wanted to win today. Outside of that, everybody showed up. I don't know what they were doing. Like Rishabh Pant, 39 of 33. Robman Powell tried to get going and got them to a decent score of 168, but 160. I'm sorry, which basically meant that Mumbai Indians had 8 runs per over to chase up. So from that point of view, the pitch was spin friendly. So let's talk about Kuldeep and Aksar, Adi. Did they also contribute for Delhi not being able to defend this total? Granted that tactics were wrong.
Yeah. So I'd say this. I think Pant was saying in the post-match conference that Dew came in today. So I don't know to what extent that was a factor. With spinners, it's generally tough. So keeping that comment aside, I think Kuldeep in his first over was not good, for lack of a better word. He gave like a lot of runs, and that kind of changed the momentum for Mumbai as well. I think his over and the previous over before that, both those overs changed that momentum. Else, Mumbai were under 6 runs an over at that point in time. Like they were struggling, they were not able to score, and that Kuldeep over gave them that momentum. So yeah, like in hindsight, that. But I would say this for for Delhi, the bigger surprise, at least from my standpoint, is like David Warner not scoring in a knockout match. Like, as a Sunrisers fan, we've seen it time and again. Whenever there's a knockout match, or whenever there's like a playoff match or do or die situation, even if your team loses, you can kind of bank on Warner. He will score like at least 30, 40, 50 runs. And he was in superb form throughout the tournament, right? And I was surprised that he didn't fire big today. If he had scored, then easily like DC could have looked at like 170, 180, right? And then Mitch Marsh, like historically, Mitch Marsh has been on and off in the IPL. But this IPL, the previous few matches, he's been like in superb form. So him also not getting any runs was a shock for DC, and I think that contributed to Rishabh Pant playing very slow at the start because he didn't want to lose his wicket. So again, he played too slowly. I'll agree with that, but probably he was, you know, he wasn't his free self because he didn't want to lose another wicket. So many things to poke holes in with DC, right? There's Khalil over at the death. Like there was not a single bowler who was good for DC in the death. It's not like if you look at the previous match, same ground, MI versus SRH. Natarajan was horrible. Gave 26 runs, 4 sixes, full tosses. But at the other end, the bowlers were good. Like Umran bowled well, Bhuvi bowled well. But with DC, I think in the death last 5-6 overs, there was not a single bowler who kept it under 10 runs an over. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Pant couldn't go to anyone, right? Like there was no go-to person who would like keep the run rate down and do that. So yeah, bowlers also overall they let them down at the back end.
Yeah, definitely. DC didn't show up. And we will talk about the 4 finalist playoffs. But let's spend some time talking about Mumbai performance. Jasprit Bumrah form coming back in Vishak. How pleased are
Yeah,
you seeing him back in form?
definitely. Yeah, there was a stat which has shown the first 10 matches he had picked only 5 wickets, and in the last 4 matches he has picked up 10 wickets, which is actually a promising sign. And the pace at which he's bowling and the way he's varying his lengths, the short balls, the Yorkers, everything is coming now. I think and one thing which I am always little skeptical about him, when he always comes up in the second spell, right? He never bowls a Yorker. I don't know why is that. Even though when he's at his best also, he never tries to bowl a Yorker in the second spell. He always goes for length deliveries. So that is one thing he may rethink of. Otherwise, I think in the second half, the last 4 matches, he has been fantastic, and this is the kind of Bumrah we want to see. The only concern at this point of time is Rohit's form. He, I think one of Syed or somebody had posted, Syed or Sanjay, I think, had posted saying that 298 runs at an average of 19. This is his burst IPL. So that is a case of concern. So yeah, that is one thing which we'll have. He is the captain as well. So I think that is one thing we need to look at. So and he has to come to form quickly. Good that Kohli at least has scored some runs. Hope he carries on. But Rohit's form is definitely a concern. And for Mumbai again, if you see the other positives like Ishan coming to form in the last few matches, Tim David, I think he's been a fantastic finisher in the few games. Last game, I think that unfortunate run out. Otherwise, I think he would have finished that game as well. So he's been coming good, and I think he's replacing Pollard. So I think it's too early to say that it is to replace Pollard, but just one season for a few matches. But he looks an ideal replacement for Pollard, and like if he can better his game a little bit, he can be an ideal replacement.
Absolutely. Their batting came through pretty well. I think Tilak Verma is another positive. I really like his attitude. I really like his approach. Today, he played a quiet role, but very, very important role on the other side of Brevis and Tim David. Adi, thoughts on Tilak Verma?
No, like I was actually during the auction as well. I was disappointed SRH didn't bid for him. I think there were three teams which bid for him: CSK, SRH, and MI. And in the end, it was CSK versus MI. And I think he's one of those youngsters who has come in and proved himself in the first match itself, in the first season itself, right? Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Tilak is Mumbai's highest run scorer this season as well, right? Because Surya was there and he overtook him. So for a 20 something year old first season highest run scorer, that itself shows how good he has been. And I think he's cemented his number 4 slot for Mumbai Indians in the future, because once Surya comes back, Surya bats at 3 and you can have Tilak Verma at 4. And Mumbai have got I really like this guy's attitude as well, like on Mumbai positives. Ramandeep, he bowls the tough overs. He's like, hey, I'll bowl the death overs, right? And also with the bat, he seems decent, like in the last match versus SRH and also this one. So I'm like, looking back, once Mumbai gets Surya and Jofra Archer hopefully comes back next year, and Tim David's coming good, so Mumbai is looking really strong for the next year, right? Like, fine, it's like a 10th finish this time, but I'm of this belief that even if you finish 5th or 10th, it doesn't matter. You didn't qualify for the playoff, that's it. So next season is next season, and I think Mumbai have things sorted in that sense. Like, they'll be in a much better position next year than they are this year, right?
I think in the last 6 games, I felt they got the team sorted, and they won 4 out of the 6 games also.
Yep.
So I think it's a quite a positive, and I think they've identified their fast. Daniel Sams after those initial kind of matches coming back pretty good, coming good, and when he defended at 9 runs, right after that, I think he has
Yeah.
grown in confidence and started picking up wickets. That's a huge positive for them as well. So I think they
Absolutely.
have found one of the fast bowlers over there, overseas fast bowlers out of the two which they like to play. And if Jofra Archer comes back, he and Daniel Sams along with Bumrah will make a potent pair.
Yeah, and Mumbai just need like a good spinner, is what I would say. Like Kartikeya, Hrithik, what's the other guy's name? Markande.
Mohsin.
They were all like okay. No one like stood out really well. I think if Mumbai go in to the auction, mini auction, try to get like a good spinner, like a Zampa or someone overseas, or try to get like a domestic spinner who a good spinner. I think they'll be kind of set like with their bowling and batting.
Absolutely. And let's bring up the points table, which RCBians have been waiting for 60 days desperately. Finally, they see a Q next to their name. Vishak, hopefully you're pinching yourself. You never believed me when I was telling in our WhatsApp chat that you guys will qualify. So, are you guys looking forward to face off with Lucknow Super Giants, another Bangalore boy on the other side?
Yeah, definitely. So now that we have qualified, it's just that taking one game at a time because it's like we have to take the longer route to the cup. So it's a difficult route now. So take one game at a time. When so see like what we can do against LSD. Win that, then see like when there are 3 games. So take one game at a time. Win that, go to the next one. So slowly, like if everything goes through, hopefully on 29th, Faf du Plessis will be standing with the cup.
Okay. 29th, Fab Duplessis will be standing with the cup. So, Adi, what can we expect from the playoffs? I think three good games coming up. LSG versus RCB. Evenly matched. It will be LSG batting versus RCB bowling. Is that the fair way to look at it?
Yeah, that is a fair way to look at it, because RCB's batting, for better or for worse, it was up and down. But I think most of the matches RCB has won because their batting was consistent. In the matches they won, it's the batting which was good, right? And LSG's batting, like they are coming in hot. Like all of their matches, like they've been doing well, except like one match against GT. So that's a fair way to put it. I'll make one comment on the playoffs. I think this is Rajasthan Royals' tournament to lose. That's my take on the playoffs, because uh, they have so much depth and all of them have like performed well, and now they finished second. That matters a lot. So now it's upon like the other teams to kind of like hit back at Rajasthan, and they are the only. it also makes me sad making that comment because they're the only team who's won the trophy in the four qualifying teams, right? I'd ideally want like a new team who has not won the trophy so far to win, right? That'd be good for the IPL, but Rajasthan seem the strongest. And LSG match, I think lot depends on KL Rahul and Decock. If both of them get going, or even one of them gets going, it's going to be tough for RCB.
And Vishak, do you think Decock has it in him to go for one other game? I feel that his quota of 140 he already scored. He's bound to fail. But KL Rahul probably will have a point to prove with RCB.
Definitely. More than Decock, I'm wary of KL Rahul because two teams he has very good records are against Mumbai and RCB. So one that I'll be very wary of KL Rahul. If we get the openers early, and as I always say, Delhi middle order, LSG middle order is little wobbly, and if you get their openers early, you can easily dig into their middle order and get expose their weaknesses. So that is what RCB should be looking at. Pick up a couple of early wickets in the power, 2 to 3 early wickets in the power play, and you never know what could happen later.
And Adi, I know you mentioned Rajasthan Royals, who also have a great bowling attack. But are we underestimating the Gujarat Titans? Clearly, they were class apart compared to the 9 teams in the league stage, right? They never had a problem apart from a couple of blips. So, do you feel they have a strong chance? They have good rest, they have huge confidence, and I think Hardik Pandya and Rashid Khan are in right headspace.
Uh, I agree, but I would still back Rajasthan because if you look at the kind of players which Rajasthan has and Gujarat has, okay, Rajasthan has I think 9 players who are international quality players, as in they will walk into their international team. That's you got Hetmeyer, you got Bolt, you got Butler, and then who else are they playing? The fourth one, fourth foreigner.
McCoy.
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 McCoy's been very good. Like McCoy was not always in the playing 11, but he's been very good recently. Then they're Indian players, right? Like you got Ashwin, you got Chahal, you got
Parag,
Padikkal, Parag, and then Sanju, and then our
Yashasvi Jaiswal.
Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's in good form. What I'm saying is 7 or 8 players are like international quality hardened players, right? Prasid, whom we forgot. So essentially, there's no like weak link. The two weak links you can say are Parag and Padikkal, and then maybe Sanju. Like those are their three weakest players in that sense. Like Obed McCoy, yes, like he's been doing well. But if you go to Gujarat, it's always been like one standout player who's doing great in a match and making them win, or like 1 or 2 players. So I think like from like a player to player sort of thing, I think RR are stronger. At least that's my take because of the previous performances. They've got like a well-rounded bowling attack. Gujarat, you have to depend on your Yash Dayal or your Sai Kishore. Like, all those 8 overs are coming from them. Like, okay, they've been great in some of the matches, but I'd rather back like Ashwin, Chahal, or Prasid to come good. Does that make sense? So
can't argue with that. Yeah. I mean, there is Ashwin and Chahal on this side. And
then you got
Sai Kishore and all these.
Yeah, that's like I don't see a weak link with RR. That is the thing because they need to mess up for them to lose a match. Is how I see it. RR, right? But you need a good performance from 2-3 players for Gujarat Titans to win. But let's see. And Hardik, the captain, again, you can say this same thing for Sanju, the captain as well. Hardik, the captain, this is the first time he's captaining and never been in a playoff match as a captain, right? He's been with Mumbai. And Sanju as well, I think this is the first time RR are qualifying for the playoffs after 4 or 5 years. I don't remember 4 or something. And I don't think Sanju was the captain back then. It was someone else. So again, but Sanju does one thing right. Ashwin made this comment that Sanju is a very good listener. You have Ashwin and Butler to strategize and help him with like all the challenges. Like even today, you saw David Warner last over. He was like, no, like Pant, relax. Like I will set the field. I will talk. I will tell. Like it was David Warner calling the shot. So those senior players, it helps. And I don't know. Rashid, fine, but I don't know if anyone else from Gujarat Titans does that. Like Ferguson, Shami, Gill, they're not your captain type or tactical type of material, at least from what we've seen so far.
Absolutely. And Vishak, a lot of congratulations coming your way even from Chennai Super Kings fans. One big thing here is Anil Jain, who got finals ticket for Ahmedabad, is expecting RR versus RCB. Looks like Adi, that's where you're trending. So Vishak, RCB have it in them to beat three. They have to beat two teams to get to finals. Okay, so LSG first, and then potentially looking at GT on their way.
TT or RR. But yeah, that's as I said, we have to take one match at a time. Don't look far too ahead. Look at the LSG game first. See, let's strategize properly. Try to win that. Play your best game. Win that first, and then look forward to the next game. Like it's because it's like we have just one game on the one game right now against DT. Right? If we have to win the cup, it's like we have to win 4 games on the trot. So that's how it is. So let's take one game at a time now and see how things goes. So it's not that easy. As I said, we have to take the longer route. So take one game at a time. Win that, then look forward to the next game. Yeah, but hopefully
And
this is the year because like we have been waiting for 14 years. I think at least the 15th year, we should be getting something.
And what I also noticed, Adi and Vishak, due to the format, RCB and LSG have not played each other at all so far.
No, they played once. Like every team plays each other once at
Is it
least.
Lucknow Super Giants? RCB won by 18 runs. Okay, I was looking at when did they play last.
Yeah, that was like long time ago. I think earlier in the season or something.
It was
Very
April
early.
18th. Yep.
Yeah,
RCB scored 181, and then Super Giants lost by 18 runs. Faf du Plessis was the player of the match because
yeah,
96 is what they scored. So
correct.
Vishak, you definitely
96.
have an upper hand there.
Yeah, 96 out of 181, right? So yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think Dinesh Karthik finished in the end with those, I think, 4 sixes or something like that.
Eight
There was a
balls.
catch dropped.
Yeah.
So that was a game. Yeah, we want our top order like Kohli, Faf, and top players to be clicking, and I think our bowlers also have to come good. Like hopefully Harshal Patel is fit. Not sure about his fitness status. So if he is fit, it will be good for us. Otherwise, the death bowling will have to be looked at because if you want to like Siraj has to come in if he is not playing, and the death bowling will definitely be a concern with Siddharth Kaul bowling at the death. Not that confident.
Who don't play Siddharth Kaul. As an SRH fan who had to bear him for so many years, Siddharth Kaul's best thing is like put him on the bench, play Siraj. Like Siraj is also ex-SRH. So I'm
No,
telling like
the
Sid
problem
Kaul,
is last game Siddharth Kaul came for Siraj. Now if
yes.
Harshal Patel is injured, Siraj will come in for Harshal Patel, and it will be like Siddharth Kaul will still remain. So that will be the problem.
Who else?
So I
Who else do
feel
you
it
have
would
on
be
the bench?
better to go back to Akash Deep rather than play
Yes,
Siddharth Kaul at
that's
this
what
point
I'm
of time.
saying. Who else you have? Akash Deep. I think he's a better option than Siddharth Kaul. Don't
No,
like
even though
move
he
on.
goes for 40 to 42 runs in 4 overs, he gives you 2 to 3 wickets.
But
So I
that's not
think
Exactly.
going to
Siddharth
help.
Kaul is a better. This guy Akash Deep
Wickets
is a
are
better
not going
option.
to help, Vishak. Run seeking are going to be.
Siddharth Kaul doesn't have an upper ceiling. The upper ceiling is probably 65, right? So 45, 50 is better than 55, 65. So we've bared with him for many seasons, and one of the comment was also that, right? Like Khalil was in SRH, and if you remember the auction, the GMR guy from DC, he did not want Khalil, but he did not want Khalil to be given to Mumbai. So he was bidding him up from 3 crores. And in the end, he got him for 5.5 crores. And then they got Khalil. And today, Khalil did not deliver. The first spell was really good, but then at the
Yeah,
death,
that spell to Rohit Sharma, literally like Rohit Sharma looked clueless. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah, he looked. I think Pant missed a trick there also
Not over.
because when
Right.
your bowler is bowling really well, is in rhythm, you should give him the third over and he's moving the ball both ways. You should have given him a third over there and try to
Definitely.
prize out one more wicket. I think he missed a trick there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 2 over, 2 run, like third over is like definitely, right? So you have to give it.
Okay. Talking about the qualifier, which was which is Gujarat Titans versus Royals. They played each other once again during the league stage. Gujarat Titans scored 192 and Titans won by 37 runs. Pandya was the player of the match again with 87 or 52, and Royals fell short by 37 runs. So probably that's the strategy which Gujarat will look for: bat first and put Rajasthan Royals. Otherwise, Rajasthan Royals defending the score I think they will defend the score versus Gujarat if they bat second.
But the strength of Gujarat, if you see, right, whenever they've tried to bat it first, they have faltered, usually, most of the times. So it's like, I think they will still look to their strength has been chasing, and they've won most of their games chasing because their finishers have come good and that point of while chasing. So I think their strength would be like they would back their. I think both the teams would back their strengths. Our GT's strength, GT, even though it doesn't have that potential match winners, like somehow one or the other has stepped up. So in some matches it's Rashid Khan, some match it's Miller or Hardik Pandya has stepped up. And main thing, one constant factor who has been performing consistently for them is Riddhiman Saha. So like his contributions cannot be ignored. At the top, he's been giving them consistent starts. So that is one thing. So if anybody has to beat Gujarat Titans at this point of time, get Shubman Gill is out of form at this point of time. He looks completely out of sorts. But first thing is like Riddhiman Saha is giving them rollicking starts. So Riddhiman Saha has to be dismissed quickly and then slowly get into their middle order. So the same thing, I think. If their middle order can be exposed, Miller or somebody, if they get into the power play, right, it will be interesting. I don't think they can score that big.
And
Absolutely.
I would go ahead and say one thing. I hope to get Saha out, Ashwin bowls in the power play. Like you have bowled from one end, that's fine. Like give Saha something different because Saha likes pace bowlers in the power play. He hits them just out of the circle. It's not like he's hitting sixes or cover drives. He takes the balls outside the 30-yard circle, lofted shots. So if you bring Ashwin in, who's been in really good form with the ball, I think 7 point something economy rate. So that will be like something new for Saha. And again, like I'll make this comment too. Saha is also again ex-SRH. A lot of SRH people are doing well at other teams. One comment which I'd like to talk about is if you saw at the starting of the tournament in these venues, we were seeing your 180s, 210s, 220s. Now you're not seeing them because the pitches have gotten tired, like as we had predicted like earlier, right? Like you are the end of the season in the league stage, pitches will get tired. So BCCI has done one good thing by putting in new venues. So the pitches will be, the pitches would not be as dry, and probably you should have like a higher run scoring playoff matches. I would say like 170 plus, 180 plus, or something like that. So that should also be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and Vishak, Syed makes a good point. He played with Sunrisers, he played with Mumbai, he played with Chennai, now he is with RCB. They not get a game. We really get a cup.
If he does, he is a lucky mascot. So hopefully he is the one.
Yeah, Karan Sharma, it will be interesting if he wins again. Like next time, he should just say like I'm lucky, put himself in the auction. Teams will bid money for him. That you never know, you can get the trophy.
Another great question. Purple cap holder. Don't know. I think it's going neck to neck. I would feel Chahal because Chahal has experience compared to Hasaranga, but we never know. One hat trick to each other probably will be there. Orange cap will continue to sit with Josh Butler. I guarantee you, knockout game, he will come through, even though KL Rahul has 2 chances. One big question, I think this is a good one too. Will Gujarat Titans make any changes? Will Ramanullah Gurbaz get a chance? He's a mental hitter if he gets going.
Yeah, but I think if they had to try Ramanullah Gurbaz, they shouldn't have bought. They bought Wade around back into the team around 3 matches back, right? That time they should have got Ramanullah Gurbaz back, allowed him to settle down, and then give him a longer rope and get him in, and then make him play in the playoffs. Not suddenly make a change going into the playoffs. So I think Wade will still get a game, and they will not be making any changes. Making any changes to the team at this point of time will just dent the team's confidence as well, and it will be looking like they are not trusting the players who have given them this chance. They've got 20 points, right? They've just lost 4 games out of the 10 14 they have played, so they have to trust their players now and not try anything new and just go ahead and see what they can just deliver.
I wouldn't play like Matthew Wade. I don't think he's in good form. They should actually go back to Alazari Joseph, who was actually pretty good. He had one off game and they kind of dumped him. But Alazari Joseph, I think what happens with that is you got like 6 or 7 bowling options, Gujarat. So you're not dependent on 4 overs of Hardik. I think one of the challenges was if Hardik wants to bowl, I think he has a point to prove that, hey, I am like your India all-rounder, so I want to bowl. He took rest in between. He was bowling at the start. He took rest in between. Now he's again bowling again. But with Alazari Joseph, even if one of your bowlers has an off day, he can be that option. So I hope they, and Alazari actually can bat. He's not a mug with the bat, as they say. He's decent hitter. And anyways, number 7 in likely very rarely plays. So I hope they get Alzari Joseph instead of Matthew Wade, or maybe do some changes around.
That also strengthens the bowling because Joseph can get him. So anyway, I think deservingly the 4 teams which we ended in top 4 are probably the fairway side. You're absolutely right. We covered that. Vishak, again, enjoy the Saturday, and hopefully the next couple of weeks are going to be as pleasing as they were today. Adi, tomorrow SRH are back. Hopefully we have some smile on our faces. God knows what they are going to give us.
On this match, I think every season, last match of the IPL has something riding on it. Like, okay, one team needs to win against someone to qualify. Or worst case, it was always like, okay, one team is in the playoffs, but if they win this match by some run rate, they can become 1 or 2. This is the most pointless last match of the IPL I've seen. Like in the league stage, both teams have nothing to gain. It's just to try different players. I hope one thing from SRH: please make Abhishek Sharma captain for the last match. I know they will make Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but invest in youth. You need an Indian captain. If you had an Indian captain, probably SRH would have qualified, because you would have dumped Kane by then, right? If you make a foreign captain, you're stuck with them. So if anyone from SRH management is listening, please try to make an Indian captain. Don't make Pooran the captain.
Bhuvi.
Bhuvi,
On
okay.
that point, it's announced. Bhuvi is the captain.
Oh, it is announced. I didn't see. Okay, then yeah, it's sad, but I thought they would probably invest in the youth, or maybe vice captain is Abhishek. Let's see and watch. Right, that they don't announce who's going to be. So
I think Bhuvi was the official vice captain as well. So it was not good to actually go and think beyond that. So I think they went with Bhuvi. Maybe next season, I think they definitely have to see. Even the same thing I would say RCB. Even if RCB goes on and if they go on and win the cup, 2 things where like they have to address. One thing is address, and one thing I'm not convinced with. First thing they have to address is captaincy with the captaincy factor. Faf is already 36, and you don't know how long he will play. So it's like you cannot trust him for longer, and how long can maintain this form, because he is not playing international cricket anymore. So you have to look beyond Faf and see who can captain the side. Get an Indian captain. That's the first thing that should RCB do. One thing which I'm not convinced is that even though he is in the purple cap race, 10.75 crore for Asranka.
Never know. I mean, if he wins you guys cup, hopefully then you will give him the credit.
Give him 16, man. Like if he wins you the cup, give him 16, give him 20. Because I think some calculations will change. New IPL contract. What is that? Broadcast rights are coming. If those are at a much higher price than this price, teams will fight for a higher salary cap. So all player salaries might increase. We never know.
Interesting stuff. And Adi, popular demand, they're asking if you're going to join.
Yeah, I'll come tomorrow. The only match I regret for SRH is that GT match. If he had won, we would have been in the hunt for the playoffs. And that started the downhill. Like after that, I think we lost 5 matches or 6 matches, I think, in a row.
After that, 4 matches in a row.
Yeah. GT plus 4 matches in a row and end of season.
Yeah. Anyway, Vishak, enjoy the Saturday night. Adi, thanks for making time, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for all the engagement. Click that like button and tell us on comments what else you would like to see. Thanks very much, and talk to you guys later.